Hey guys, welcome back. As you see, I got another Hokey set up here today, and we've got our 240 millimeter AIO set up and ready to hang out the window. This time we're on the socket 775 board. This is our Asus P5N73AM motherboard. It's not a very good overclocking motherboard. It's got very limited settings, but the one that I was going to use, this is the Asus P5ND2 SLI. This is a good overclocking board, but it no longer posts, and when I was looking at it, you can see there's a couple caps right there that are bulged, so I assume this is another one that's got to go in a pile for recaps, which means I'm going to have to order probably a fucking big old box of caps one day and get cranking on these motherboards and get them repaired. But in the meantime, we've got on this socket 775 is a Pentium D, whatever, I'll put it right here because I don't remember which Pentium D it is. A 3 gigahertz Pentium D, the Enermax 240 AIO. We've got 4 gigabytes of DDR2, and this is just a Radeon HD 2600 Pro for the GPU, since we're not doing anything GPU related. And we got a fan on here to try to keep everything cool on the motherboard. So we're going to go through and we're going to get a baseline with this inside here, just at ambient room temperature, and then we'll stick it out the window, get everything below 0, and then we'll push this thing to overclock it. We've also got Windows 10 on a 256 gigabyte SSD there. We've got our 550 watt power supply right here, and PS2 keyboard. We've got a mouse around here somewhere, and we've got our power button right here. So we're just about set. Now this AIO, I had torn this AIO down before, and I'll put the link up here for that. But I was trying to overclock Athlon 2 quad core, and the temperature started going up. And when I set everything back to stock on there at the stock voltage and everything, the temperature kept climbing, and it got up into the 70s. So this thing was no longer cooling. So I had to drain it again. And as you can see from these pictures here, it was pretty bad. And this is less than 6 months after I repaired it before. So I think what I'm going to have to do is really take a good look at this and pull these hoses off and see, because I think it may actually be the inside of these hoses. But I refilled it with distilled water, and I added a little extra of that anti-corrosive, the anti-corrosive juice in there. So we'll see what it does. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get this fired up now, and we're going to switch over to the capture, and we'll get a baseline temperature. Actually, I'm probably just going to throw it out the window. We'll get a baseline run on Cinebench R15, and we'll see what our temperatures go up to at stock, because these Pentium Ds are hot chips, and then we'll go ahead and we'll see how far we can push this thing cold, and I'm hoping we can get the 4 gigahertz on it. And we'll go ahead and we'll turn it on, and we'll switch over to the capture. Alright, so Windows 10 is loaded up. Let's open up our monitor. And the only, let me click this, the only temperature reading that we have is right here. And I haven't put the radiator out the window yet, so this is still at ambient temperature. Our vCore, stock vCore, looks to be about 1.256 and 3 gigahertz. So let me go ahead and put this radiator out the window, and I'll watch the temperature drop. Alright, radiator's out the window. We should be able to see this temperature start plummeting. There we go. And this doesn't have an on-die temperature, unfortunately, so this is the best that we got. I don't know where this is. This is the socket temperature or what, but this is what we're going to go by here. And you can see even this temperature right here is dropping pretty significantly, but this one gets down to 1, and it doesn't look like it's gone any lower. I'm not sure what the readings are on here. Like this one says 509 degrees C. So yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with that, but we are sub-zero outside right now. It's 11 below C, and that seems to be about you know, 2 degrees is where this is going to settle out at. So let's go ahead and let's check CPU-Z first. I'll tell you exactly, and this will show you exactly what CPU we're running here. Pentium D 925. You see it's 2 cores, 2 threads, 1.296, 3 gigahertz. So, and we're going to crank up our bus speed here in a little bit after we get our initial run in. Let's go ahead and fire up R15. And we'll give it a run. Alright, that's done, and we got a score of 64. But what I think is more disturbing about the score is the amount of time that it took. You know, I'll show the start and the finish time here, but you can see it took a long time to finish. So, what I'm going to do is in real time, we're going to go and head into the BIOS and, yeah, okay, I don't know why it's crapping out. We're going to head into the BIOS and I'm going to push this thing as far as we can here. Alright. So I think we're going to go, I don't know what, like this 1.8 volt dual over voltage controls, I have no idea what that is. This I'm not sure what it is either. I'll just enable that. And on here we're limited to 150 millivolts, and that's the maximum that we can go up in voltage on here, which is why I hate using this motherboard, but it's the only socket 775 that I have right now. So we're stuck with that, and I think we're going to I'm not sure what I want to go up to here. Let's try like 1100. Let's see where that brings us to. That won't tell us here. We'll have to restart it. Alright, that's 4.12. We posted at 4.12, so let's go ahead and see if we can get into Windows at 4.12. I mean, I'd have been happy to hit 4 gigahertz on here, even though I'm sure it'll do better. I'm just not sure about that voltage. And there's no control for LLC on here either. So who knows how much that 150 millivolts is going to drop once it's under load. And everything on Windows 10 is super slow on this CPU. Yep, we're at 4.1 gigahertz. Looks like 1.4 volts that hit. Alright, let's see if our temperature is any higher. God, yeah, everything is so slow. Alright, it's not really that much higher in idle. Let's see if we're stable for R15. And let's see, what does the temperature do. I could hook my temperature probe up to it, but I just don't feel like putting that much effort into this. Well, you can see there's definitely an increase in our CPU temperature, but it is working. It does seem to be stable, so I mean, it's hardly completed anything, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to push it a little bit more. Oops. Yes. Alright, so back into the BIOS in real time here. And let's go to 1200. I could do some math to figure out where we're at, but I'm not going to bother. And it looks like 1200 is a bit too much for it to even post. Yep, it's not going to post, so I got to go through, I got to clear it, and then we'll try 1150. Oops. Alright, let's see what that does. Alright, we posted. Let's see if we can load into Windows. Alright, this is doing better than I was expecting. I wasn't expecting with our voltage control, our limited amount of voltage adjustment to get over 4 gigahertz, but it seems to have got us over quite a bit now. Alright, 4.3 gigahertz. So let's bring up our temperature monitor, limited as it is, and R15. And let's see if we're at least R15 stable. See, I like that other motherboard. It has a lot better, a lot more granular adjustment to it, where this one is very limited on the adjustments that you can do. And you basically got your bus frequency and your voltage is limited to 150 millivolts. So, but we seem to be R15 stable at 4.32 gigahertz. So let me see if we can go a little bit further with it. At some point, you know, we're going to hit our. Why does that keep airing out? At some point, we're going to be stuck. Alright, and Windows just locked up, so I think that might be our point right there. So let me hit reset. And we'll see what we can do here at 4.3. Matter of fact. Oops. Alright, matter of fact, I think I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. Let's go like 1148. Alright. So let's try that. And the son of a bitch fucking Windows update. God damn it. I like how it's updating. I don't even have internet on this computer. Alright, I think we're just going to let it update, and I'll come back when it's done updating. Alright, it's finally done updating. I have no idea how this thing fucking updated. It's not connected to the internet. It's not even connected to my network. All the drivers I put on via USB drive, so I have no idea how this thing updated, but there we go. We had to update at 4.3 gigahertz. Alright, well, I'm glad that's out of the way. Let's see where we're at here. Alright, 4297, so I'm going to call that 4.3 gigahertz, and let's go ahead and fire up R15. Alright, must be doing Windows stuff in the background here. So I'm going to give it a little bit to chill out. I mean, the temperature is starting to drop again. Well, not really. I have no idea what's going on in the background here. .NET Runtime Optimization Service. Wonder if I can end that. Nope, comes right back. Alright, we're going to have to wait for that to finish. Alright, so it appears Windows is finally done dicking around here. And it may have just locked up. Alright, let's try this again. Alright guys, so that CPU did not survive after the update. Waiting for the CPU or the Windows background processes to stop. The CPU ended up failing. It locked up and I couldn't get it to post again. So unfortunately I've got a stack of these 3 gigahertz what are these, Pentium D 925s. I've got a stack of those, so I was able to replace it. We got another one in there, and this one, as you're able to see, we're able to go right to 4.3 gigahertz with no problem. So with our monitor up, watching the temperature there, we're going to wait for it to go down a little bit. We're going to open up R15, and as soon as we get our temperature down a little bit, this one seems to be a little warmer than the last one, but I think our temperature will go down a little bit here because I brought the radiator back in from the window while I was swapping CPU so it didn't freeze, and as you can see, yeah, it does look like we're going down. It's definitely warmer than the last one, but let's go ahead and run this and see if we can get through our 15 at 4.3. Alright, at 4.3 we got a Cinebench R15 score of 76. So, and watching the temperatures here, just 54 here, I think that's where we peaked at before when it was idling and before we threw the radiator out the window. With the radiator out the window, I think running R15 we peaked at 27 C as I was watching it as it was going. But yeah, I mean that's quite an improvement, I think. 76 up from what, 62, 64, 64. Yeah, it went from 64 to 72. So yeah, that's not bad. For 2 cores on a Pentium D. You can see E6300 at 1.8 gigahertz at 72. So this is 4.3, and it got a 76. So not very good when you compare it to a Core 2 Duo or to really anything else for that matter. But yeah, just there's no point in doing this. I'm certainly not going to go and try and test any games with it with my radiator hanging out the window and shit. But just want to see how far I could push this through on a cold day. Like I said, it's 11 below Celsius today, and I was bored, so this is what I came up with. So hopefully you guys found this interesting, and you guys stay warm, and we'll see you on the next one.